If you're anything like me, you just love this idea of communicating with the universe and understanding how the whole thing works so that we can do it in a more assertive way, in a way that's more effective and aligned. So if you're looking to find answers on how to do it properly, this video is for you. Because in this video, I'm gonna share with you the 5 key principles I've found to be effective in communicating with the universe and getting your vibrations across so that you can receive the things you want and co-create beautifully. Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Fernando. Welcome back to my channel. Very excited for today's video because I love mysticism and I love the idea that we are one and we are together and we're part of this whole grand cosmic scheme. Key number 1, principle number 1. I just mentioned it actually. We are one. You've probably heard it before and you might have a hard time wrapping your head around it because, yeah, the physical experience, the human experience we have in the 3D world, and we're here in the bodies, the physical bodies, equipped with 5 senses that actually trick us into believing the illusion. And it's part of the design, right? It's supposed to be like this. So basically your 5 senses have you believe that you are separate, that you are disconnected, right? And so when we remember that we are one and that we are all connected, things start to make a little more sense, right? You are consciousness, I am consciousness, the universe is consciousness. I am energy, you are energy, the universe is energy. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. So, if we're all one thing, this means we're connected, even though it doesn't look like it, even though it doesn't seem like it, even though it doesn't feel like it, right? So we get to remember that even though this experience is telling us otherwise, in the grand scheme of things, we are all connected. And you know what? The physical, material, 3D experience we're having here is nothing compared to what transcends it. It's nothing. So we are connected and communicating with the universe is right here, right? So remembering this is key because it strengthens your belief, or even goes beyond that. You get to a level of knowing. You just know, right? You don't have to believe it, you just know. You are one, you are it, you are the universe, right? So this key is fundamental because if we don't remember this, then establishing the connection successfully, optimally, then, right? Good. Okay, so this leads me to principle number 2. The language of the mind versus the language of the heart. Now, we're talking about communicating with the universe, right? So let's talk about language. Now, the human mind, the conscious mind, the ego, is what we experience here in the 3D world, right? So let's look at how this mind communicates. It communicates with languages, the earthly languages, right? Word after word, making up sentences that, communicate messages, right? In the grand scheme of things, this communication is so limited. It's so limited. If you've watched any ND story, really, you will know that people who have these experiences and come back, they're always like, I can't put it to words. I just can't describe it. There are no words because it's very limited. The conscious mind is extremely limited. And so we just get to remember that it's a tool we have, and that's how we communicate at this point in time on Earth, but it's just very limited. And if it's very limited, do you think this is what corresponds to the language of the universe? Probably not, right? Because the universe is the opposite of limitation, right? And so now let's look at the language of the heart. How does the heart communicate? Does the heart communicate with words? With rational ideas? No, right? This is the mind, the rational mind, words, very finite. Now, when communicating with the universe, if we're resorting back to the words and relying solely on the mental, conscious words and the way we communicate on Earth with other people, then your communication with the universe will not be aligned. Okay? So the language of the heart is the feelings, the emotions. And emotion, by the way, is energy in motion. And so the way you connect and communicate with the universe is via your emotions. When people talk about vibration, where you're vibrating at, to take care of your vibration, to be mindful of your vibration. As human beings, we have the emotions as guides, because the emotions, they basically mean the energy, the vibration. And that's the language of the heart, right? The emotions. The heart knows and feels. The heart doesn't reason. This is the mind, right? So the emotions. So how do you communicate with the universe? Via your emotions. My grandma, my late grandma, beautiful, beautiful soul, she would every night, when she was, preparing to go to sleep, she would go to bed, and then she would close her eyes, and she would essentially pray, right? She was a Catholic woman. And what she would do is she would close her eyes and begin, what I now understand is she would visualize basically all her grandchildren, right? Her children, the people in her life, right? And she would go one by one blessing them, us, right? And so with her eyes closed, thinking positive things, sending us blessings, her heart was engaged, I'm sure. And we've all been so blessed. We've all been so blessed. And I know now that the work my grandma did is part of it. And she would essentially use her mind to engage the emotions. And so she was communicating with the universe via her vibration. And this is how you communicate with the universe. It's via your vibration. So actually principles 2 and 3 are very close, because principle number 3 is you communicate via your emotions. And so if you're trying to communicate with the universe and you're thinking sentences, you're thinking words, but you're feeling something that is different from what the words are trying to convey, then you're trying to communicate something, but what you're actually communicating is something else. So let's talk affirmations real quick. If you've practiced affirmations, you will be able to tell how this goes for you. But have you ever tried affirming something that maybe was a little bit distant from your reality? We can think of classics, for example, I am super abundant, right? Maybe you're experiencing deep lack and you're like, I am so abundant, but then what you feel inside is literally discomfort. First of all, if that's the case, I would encourage you to stop doing it, at least for some time. Why? Because if you're saying I'm super abundant, but you're feeling, but what that's doing is amplifying your sense of lack, then what you're doing is you're communicating to the universe a sense of lack. So it's very interesting because some of these practices, sometimes they can literally backfire. So always remember, your emotions are the bridge to all that is, to the universe, right? And so if you're doing something, if you're practicing something and you're feeling that your emotion is going the other way, stop that practice for some time and be kind with yourself, okay? Be very gentle with yourself, because when you're gentle with yourself, your vibration tends to be higher, right? And so what you're communicating with the universe at that given moment will be higher as well. Never beat yourself down, because when you're doing that, you're sending all sorts of negative messages to your subconscious, and at that particular time you'll be literally sending a vibration, therefore communicating with the universe in a way that's detrimental to you. So key number 3, you communicate via your emotions, not the words, okay? The words help to induce. The words help you to get there. But the heart does not understand words, okay? And the universe doesn't understand words either. Words are tools for the conscious mind, and the conscious mind alone. Principle number 4, you are always sending out a signal. So if you believe or think or imagine that communicating with the universe happens only when you decide to flip that switch on, think again. Because as an energetic being, as the eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience that you are always vibrating, as is everything else, right? You're always vibrating, so you are always communicating with the universe. If you lose your temper, if you react negatively to anything, I mean anything, there are no exceptions. When you react negatively, you are communicating with the universe. The universe only understands your frequency, your vibration, your energy. And so before you complain about something, before you throw a fit, stop yourself and think, am I willing to pay the price, so to speak, of sending this message out to the universe? The universe reads your frequency, your signature, right? The signal you're sending out. And we'll be like, okay, so and so wants more of this. Right away. Your wish is my command, right? And so you get more of that. So remember, you're always communicating with the universe. So complaining, being negative, getting into arguments, these are all things that get you more of what you don't want. So basically, you're always communicating with the universe. Make the most of it. Key element number 5 is to stick with a practice. Stick with a practice, a spiritual practice, a mystical practice, right? That can be meditation, that can be affirmations, visualization, that can be journaling, scripting, right? That can be the practice of gratitude, which is one of my favorites. If you're trying to communicate with the universe in a more beneficial way, if you're trying to align yourself with spiritual truths and create your best reality, it's key to maintain a daily practice. Why? Because when you do that, you are priming your instrument, your energy instrument, for success. Because if we go back to principle number 3, you're always sending out a signal. And so maintaining practices will help you be more in alignment with the things or with the frequencies, the emotions, the vibrations that are beneficial to you. The signals you're sending out, especially when you're not thinking about these things, when you're on autopilot, right? When you keep a practice, you are basically helping yourself to be in a more aligned place, just in general, so that your constant predominant signal is a positive one. And so I know that watching content, reading books, these things can be a little easier because you're just like receiving, you're just like consuming, right? But practice is very important because it helps you tune your instrument. Meditation, by the way, for example, when you wake up first thing in the morning and you go meditate, think of it literally as tuning your instrument before you go out and play, right? Imagine like musicians before a performance. No one is like tuning their instruments, and then they're playing, it's happening, yes, but that frequency is not very right. Something's off, right? Doesn't sound very divine. And so waking up and just going about your day, maybe you're out of tune, if that makes sense. What if you tuned your instrument every morning before you began your daily activities, right? And then the more you do that, the more aware of your vibration and your emotion you are, even when you're not thinking about it. And so when you do that, you're constantly having fabulous talks with the universe. Now, that doesn't mean you're not allowed to have, bad moments or even bad days. Happens to everyone, right? If you are having a bad day, just remember to be kind with yourself. Because if you're already having a bad day and then you're like beating yourself up, don't do that, because then you're just adding to the problem, right? So allow it, acknowledge it, but be kind with yourself. And so just remember that you're always communicating with the universe. We're all one, we're all connected. There's no separation. And so when you remember these things, you can create your reality from a more aware and aligned space. And now that the beautiful, beautiful sun is setting, I'm going to conclude this video, and I'm going to wish you an amazing time creating your reality. Remember something. You can have anything you want. The only catch is you have to be happy now. You have to be happy now. And now you know what that means. If you're happy, this is what your frequency, that's the quality of your frequency. And therefore, the message you're sending to the universe will have the same quality. So remember to have fun. I love you so very much. You are the infinite being. You can have anything you want. Be happy now. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.